Okay, now that we've got our sphere selected and the pathway done, and we've got the sphere so that it follows along the pathway, we want to start the process of having the computer calculate how to cause the ball to roll. But before we can do that, we've got to select our line and come over here in the command panel. On the far right, you see something called Utilities. I'm going to select it, and if it's not selected, hit something called Measure. And down here, you'll see where it says Shapes. And there's a length, and in my case it's 943.85. You need to write this down. You have to know the length of your line. It's critical to the math formula. So now come over, select your sphere, and up here is something called Track View or Curve Editor. Open it up. You may have to open it up a little bit so you can see what's inside of it. And come down here and you'll see Object Sphere. Open it up and click Radius. Now you need to assign a controller. Now some older versions of Macs have an Assign Controller icon up in this area. In my case, I have to right click and go to Assign Controller, and we want to do a linear float. And when we do that, you'll notice that there's sort of a long line here that actually flows through what we're doing. Okay? Alright, now what we're going to do is we want to find the rotation, find sphere 1, find the rotation area, and find the Y rotation. And we're going to right click and we're going to assign a controller, in this case a float expression. Alright, and you'll notice that we get this kind of a little box here that lets us come in here and type. Okay, and we want to type in inside the name area the word traveled. Be sure it's scalar and click Create. Alright, then come down here where it says Assign to Controller. You want to click that and look in the Objects area and come down to Sphere 1, come to Position. There's something called % linear float. Okay? Alright, now come up here and type in the word radius and create. And you want to go down to Assign Controller. And in this case, you want to go to the Object Sphere, Radius Linear Float. And the last thing that we want to enter into our formula is the length. Okay. And we're going to create that. Only now, instead of assigning it to a controller, we're going to assign to a constant. And this is where that number comes in that we wrote down. Mine was 943.85. Yours will vary, and you click OK. Alright, now up here in the expression, we're going to backspace, type in a parentheses, another parentheses, and type in traveled times length parentheses divided by radius in parentheses. Now notice that I made sure that these are case sensitive, so if I capitalized anything here in when I type it in, I have to be sure I spell it and type it exactly right. And we could hit and evaluate just to sort of be sure it works. There's no problem. We close this, and we're going to hit play. And you'll notice, in fact, let's zoom in just a little bit here. So we can see it. And you will notice that it actually is rolling. Okay. Now, in order to see this really clearly, you may have to take and render your animation. All right. Have fun. You could use this for, say, a bowling ball going down the alley before it strikes the pins, for example. All right. Have fun.